Hey friends, Kristin LaVanway here with a little Phoenix real estate market update for you. And this is actually an important one, so I'm going to get right to it. You may have noticed that the Phoenix real estate market's been a little bonkers lately. So you should know that the peak of the market has come and gone. That's right. March 11th, we hit the highest Cromford Market Index in history, 514. If you're not familiar with the Cromford Market Index, it is a metric that looks at supply and demand and determines the temperature of the Phoenix real estate market, where prices are headed basically. It's a 3 to 6 month look ahead. And 514 blew away the last record that we set in 2005. And I know that a lot of people kind of compare 2005 to what's happening now. A lot of people are convinced it's the same phenomenon. And yeah, there are some similarities, but there's some big key differences as well. So I want to touch on where we are right now in our Phoenix real estate market, and then circle back and talk about the differences between these two market shifts and what we can maybe expect in the next 6 months or so in Phoenix real estate. So 514 on March 11th, we're already down into the 460. It's a pretty significant decline, which really shows that this is a trend. This is a shift in the market. And it's not a scary shift, folks. This is a shift towards normality. This is what we want, okay? We want things to be more normal. This is unsustainable what's happening right now. 32% appreciation, wacko. Can't keep doing that forever. 22% of our normal inventory, no, we can't keep doing that. So this is actually good news. Now, where we are right now, the thing that's shifting the most is demand. Demand has come down some. It wasn't gigantic before, it wasn't way past normal, but now it's definitely normal in every city. In some cities it's actually below normal. Most of the East Valley cities, Chandler, Gilbert, Tempe, Mesa, they're seeing actually below normal demand right now. Gilbert, for example, 80% of normal demand. But what happens when demand goes down is supply levels will start coming up. This is not something that's happening quickly, okay? Gilbert, with the lowest demand in town, they still only have like 14% of the required inventory to service the population. These shifts are happening very, very slowly. Supply levels really have plateaued. They were continuing to go down, and now we're just seeing them really leveling off. They've gone up less than 1% in the last month. So it's a gradual increase, but at least it's somewhat of an increase, which is a lot better than the alternative. Demand is highest right now in some of the outlying areas like Casa Grande, Maricopa, Arizona City, and Scottsdale, because people are either moving out or moving up. Anyways, we're still 24,000 homes short in the Phoenix metro area. In other words, if 24,000 homes suddenly landed on the market tomorrow, we would just be breaking even. So we were still woefully short. Those numbers are coming up very, very slowly. I know people are worried about foreclosures and whatnot. I just looked yesterday how many active foreclosures and short sales are on their market. 12. That's it. So right now it's still very much a seller's market. Now, so let's look at what we can expect now that we've got this shift happening. And what we're seeing is some parallels to what happened in 2005. It's just a different mechanism. So in 2005, it hit the peak Cromford Market Index in April. And then the peak appreciation, the highest appreciation level, hit in August. So a 4-month delay between the peak in the market, between supply and demand, and then that rippling through the market and ending up with the highest appreciation rates. And that does make sense, because first you've got the market reaction, and then you've got the time it takes to sell a home, 30 to 60 days before that appreciation rate really hits statistically. And so it did reach a peak of 45% in August of 2005. What happened also back then is the supply immediately reacted to the declining demand. So what happened in 2005 it had nothing to do with supply. Supply and demand were actually pretty even coming into that market ramp up, but it was triggered by the availability of money. People were buying homes, speculating on them, buying homes, and then realizing that if they waited 6 months, 9 months, they could make a lot of money selling the home. Money was easy. You could get them. You didn't have to have a job. You did have to have a pulse, but pretty much nothing else. And you could easily get 1, 2, 3 loans for homes without putting any money down. So when that House of Cards fell and the money supply dried up, people were left holding the bag because they didn't have renters in these homes. They were really just kind of waiting. And so when the market supply dried up and the appreciation rates capped off, that's why people were needing to unload those homes. But again, the foreclosure situation didn't cause the crash. The crash was caused by the phenomenon that created that ramp up. So here in 2021, our supply level is what's driving this. So the supply has been decreasing since 2014. Very slowly, every year we just have less and less homes compared to the 2003 to 5 period where there's a very rapid decrease in homes because it was driven by demand. Right now it's just been simply that's not enough houses, more people than houses, and it was triggered in 2019 by just a combination of more buyers coming in, and then COVID hit and kind of messed things up. And so, it's been crazy this year, but now that we've hit this peak, we're seeing demand diminish, but we're not seeing supply levels change in any really significant way. It's still going very slowly. My guess is that based on, the reaction to the East Valley cities like Gilbert and Chandler having the lowest demand and arguably some of the more rapid appreciation rates for homes that are in the price ranges that most people are shopping at, I'm going to keep a really close eye on the supply levels in those East Valley the cities, because once we see those come up, I think it's a real indication of what the pace of this recovery is going to be. And I say recovery because what we're trying to do is recover supply. We're trying to recover homes on the market. So based on what happened in 2005, what I would expect to see is like a 4-month or so reaction to this peak. So if it peaked out in March, that puts us maybe August time frame, so July, August time frame to see that peak appreciation rate hit. So those are homes that are going on the market in June, July time frame. And at that point, the appreciation rates should start to come down. Now, appreciation rates coming down does not mean that prices come down. It just means that they're going up more slowly. And yeah, it would be great to see them go up more slowly than 32% where we are now, or 45% where there's a very good chance we may end up. That's unsustainable, as I said. Crazy. It's we can't do that. But it should start to come down to something a little more palatable. 20% appreciation rate, even 10% is still a gain. You're still buying a home and gaining equity right out of the gate. If someone finds themselves in trouble, if they find that they need to sell for whatever reason, job loss, which employment's really caught up, whatever situation, the difference between now and then is 2 things: equity and vacancy rate. Right now, people have equity in their homes. It gives them a lot of choices. The vacancy rate is very low right now in Arizona. There's not enough houses to buy. There's also not enough houses to rent. So that gives somebody who has, for whatever reason, a home that they need to vacate, or they need help getting, the payment or whatever, they can rent it. They can rent out a room, they can refinance, they can sell, lots of options that end up putting money in their pocket. So there's no expectation at this point that we're going to see anything that resembles the aftermath of the 2005 run-up. It looks like it's probably going to gradually level off, hopefully, to something that's more sustainable. The price level that we're at right now, though, there's nothing right now that's going to drive that lower. So the prices that we're paying right now for houses, there's nothing that's going to indicate in the future that you're going to pay less for a house. Every sign points that you're going to pay more. So for buyers, that's good news. It means that, towards the 3rd and 4th quarter of this year, you should start to see more options. You should see it a little easier to buy a home. Sellers, this is super important. Now I'm talking about this peak is over. Putting your house on the market to maximize that appreciation rate. You can still sell your house and still make a ton of money even after that peak appreciation rate hits. Who it's really going to impact the most is anyone that has a house that's difficult to sell. So if you're in an area that's not popular, if you have an inconvenient location like backing to a busy road, if the home is just odd or needs work, you're going to find it harder to sell your home in the next probably 6-8 months, towards the end of the year, definitely next year. So kind of factor that into your planning. But if you're just doing normal, like if you're thinking, well, maybe it might be easier to buy a house later, and I can sell my house, that you'll be able to sell your house, but you probably aren't going to have the power you have now to just snap your fingers and get 20 offers. So just be sure, sellers, that you're factoring that into your planning, because things are changing. Even though it doesn't look like it right now, trust me, they are. So if you have any questions or comments, if you'd like to talk to me in more detail about how this shift in the market is going to impact you personally, well, you know where to find me, Kristin here in Phoenix.com. That's where. Go out there and make it a beautiful day.